Well, this is a big, big moment. I am so excited. I am thrilled to be with you and to start this new project. And what I'm hoping is that this project will be a community rather than a group, because a group is a smaller thing, and we're sort of making room for anyone who needs help in helping, and so there's a kind of vision of inclusiveness and openness, and now I'm making room for everybody that I love. I think we can only make room for 100 people, but Vivian, who is my co-leader in China, is telling me that we have 30 Chinese guests, participants, and we would have 50 if we could handle them, but I think we can't at this moment. But it will, this community has the beauty of being international, and that we're making it together. I'm embodying the initiating of it, but we'll all make it together. And Isabel is helping me, and Melinda is co-hosting this. We're hosting it from the Focusing Oriented Relational Community Empowerment Project that Isabel is leader of, and Focusing Initiatives International that Melinda is the head of. And so we're hoping that everybody will co-make this together. It's an experiment. We don't know how this will be. I just want to say that as all of you, I've been so shocked and disoriented by the magnitude of this world crisis. And I kept wondering, what is it that I can contribute other than the groups that I do and the psychotherapy that I do? Felt like something else was needed. And then it came to me to have this this support for helpers, because so many of you are overwhelmed. I mean, everybody's overwhelmed, but then the people who are trying to help and responsible for other people and holding all of the anxiety, those people are extra overwhelmed. So this group this community is for you. So we're going to have a welcome by Melinda, a welcome by Isabel. So Melinda, would you say a few words about FII?
Yeah, first I just want to say it's interesting how things unfold, because Lynn and I were talking a couple of weeks ago and she mentioned about offering this group. And I thought, oh, I could really use it in terms of what's happening right now. And so I was just going to be a participant. And then one thing led to another, and Lynn thought, well, maybe our organization would like to co-sponsor it. So I thought, oh, what a lovely idea. And that was just in the middle of our creating a new platform in response to the current pandemic. So just real briefly, and I'm not the head of Focusing Initiatives. Pat Midian and I began it together because it's a partnership. And it's a support for communities around the world who are facing natural disasters, trauma, and we're just sort of a resource to provide support around the world. In fact, I see several people who I've been working with in France and Ireland and other places that are here today. But we have a webmaster in Italy who, it was his idea because, you know, in Italy, they have the plaza, which is a gathering place. So he decided, because of this, in a response, to create coronaplaza.life. And so we have this international platform where we're offering webinars every day on anything that people want to offer. It's sort of if you had something you wanted to offer, you're welcome to do that. And so obviously today is an appropriate place. This webinar every Monday drop-in is open and will be on our website, as well as other webinars. So I just want to welcome all of you today, because as you were all arriving, I just could feel inside of me like tears of companionship, you know, that we're all here and we're all having our own struggles, and there's something about being together. And so I'm just really grateful for Lynn providing this for us now.
Thank you, Melinda. Thank you. And Isabel, do you want to say a word of welcome from our FORCE program?
Good morning, everyone. Good evening, and wherever you are, may you have peace and find ease in dealing with whatever comes today. What I want to say is, first of all, gratitude and appreciation for all of you for taking time and coming together here now. And the FORCE group, it's a group that has been ongoing now, it seems like for 2 years, and we are a group of people who really want to impact change and just make a difference together as a community, not as a group, like Lynn was saying. So very pleased to be part of that. Thank you.
I think we haven't mentioned focusing yet, so I'll mention focusing. Our community empowerment group is studying and teaching how focusing, most of you know what focusing is, Jen Lynn's application of the philosophy of the implicit. Focusing is a way of coming into yourself and a way of relating, and we'll know more about it as we go along, but we're trying to see how focusing can help community empowerment and how focusing can help us to be inclusive and connected. And so it's a kind of perfect storm that we're experiencing now of needing focusing, needing connection, needing embodied introspection, needing each other. And I want to say, along with Melinda, that was also my journey to start this project is my need for support and my hearing about how helpers so much need support and communication and inspiration. So we're going to start our week every week. Those of you don't feel an obligation to come every time. It's that for everybody to feel when we would like everybody to come all the time, but you don't have to at all. And you can invite other people. It's a very, very open community, and it will be here for us, every Monday morning. I want to introduce Arlene if she's here. She's helping from a group that we have that's a focusing conversation group, and Arlene volunteered to help and keep track of things.
Okay, here I am.
Hello, welcome. And we have Rachel Alexander from our FORCE training program who is going to give us some help. Can we hear from Rachel?
Sure, I'm here. I'm happy to help.
Very good. Each week, I'm going to start with a little kind of reflection about how focusing can give us help in troubled times. And after the reflection, then we'll have some comments by you. Anything that comes. Well, first, Rachel will do a little attunement for us to help us settle and reflect a minute in ourselves. And then we'll have some comments. And then Isabel's going to help us to break up into small groups of 4 and you will be invited to do a go around, each person take a turn, just saying what's there for you, introducing yourself and what's on your mind, what's on your heart, what's in your body here. And then we'll all come back together for just a few closing comments. So that will be our general format. And since this is a collaboration of all of you, if you have a different idea, email it to me. Also, I would like you to email me any comments of what this group left you with. Just a few sentences, not too long. And Melinda has volunteered to put those together and to send them out for us. So that's an invitation, not an obligation. The first thing I want to talk about is this incredible challenge that we have here as helpers, as humans. Probably we're the only human beings that have had this kind of challenge, this worldwide challenge, in a time when many of us are taken off guard and really disoriented and like, oh my God, what's happening here? And what does it mean? And what will the future world be like? And who am I in this? These huge questions. And how can I connect with people when I'm told that the best thing I can do for other people is to stay away from them? I mean, that seems so ironic, especially for helpers. Like we want to just get up and go over to people and give them hugs and I see a lot of nods there. We want to invite people in. Some of us like to give people food, right? We want to listen to them with our bodies, with another body. We want to talk intimately with them. And here, there's the message, no, if you want to help, you have to stay home and stay separate. That's the biggest challenge. And I'm hearing from many helpers that it's so anti-instinctual not to get up and go somewhere and do something, that in other crises in our communities, like for us New Yorkers in 9/11, you know, we would get up and we would go and we would do something. And here we can't get up and go and do anything. So it's a challenge that's unprecedented, perhaps historically, but certainly in our lifetimes and many, many lifetimes back. And many of us are holding the anxiety, the uncertainty, the pressure, the fear, the burden, and the exhaustion of many, many people. And for us helpers, seeing people on a screen, trying to do our work by concentrating our eyes and our whole beings on this little point on a cold rectangular screen rather than being with people is exhausting. And many of us are going from meeting to meeting to meeting. And I'm appreciating these nods because I'm feeling very accompanied. In this going from meeting to meeting to meeting, we aren't sure how much we're being helped by these Zoom meetings and how much it's another screen that we have to look at. And that's why I wanted to make this project very open that when it's helpful, come. When it feels like too much, don't come. Get up, stretch. Everybody, maybe right now, just stretch, turn your head around, bring your coffee in the morning. Let's see if we can, if we have to be trapped on this little screen in our mode of house arrest, let's see if we can be as free here as possible. So that's the challenge, right? And then when I look at Isabel, I think, well, Isabel has had to go to work 2 hours on the subway. I mean, that is another terrible, terrible strain. So the people who are locked at home are having one kind of challenge, and the people who still have to go to work, and that's very anxious making. I mean, even going shopping for food takes so much out of us. It's so difficult and arduous. And here we are responsible to emotionally feed other people and nurture them and care for them. How are we going to do that? Show up again and again and again. So let's take a breath with the challenge. Big, big challenge. Give ourselves some compassion, some support of, oh my God, this is a big thing that's expected of us. And it's going on and on and on. And we don't know how long it will go on for. Somehow it helps to just give ourselves that recognition. If it feels right to you, just put your hands on your own heart and say, oh, wow, that's hard. Really, really hard. We're filled up with the anxieties and the questions and the uncertainties of others and of ourselves. And sometimes it feels like I don't have an inch more strength or capacity. And I want to recognize that also there's some very good things about the shelter in place. That some people are really having a wonderful time staying at home as well. And then that's so confusing that we can have a wonderful time on the one hand, maybe having dinners with our families or just having time to ourselves. And on the other hand, there's so much trauma. It's very schizophrenic and crazy making. So I want to bring you a word of good news from Jean Genlin's ideas. And that is that all we need to do in helping is not to give answers. It's not to drudge our way through more than we can handle. It's not to be wise. It's not to be experienced. It's not to be good. He says all that's really needed is to be a person, another human being. And I'm going to ask Rachel to read the quote from Jean Genlin. This is a part of cards that have quotes, and you can get them at the Focusing Institute. Do we have Paula here?
I'm here.
Say hello to everybody.
Hello.
Would you tell people say a word about the Focusing Institute and about these wonderful Jean cards that people can get from the Focusing Institute?
Right. There's a shop in which you can buy books, but also these cards look like you could play bridge with them or solitaire, but instead they have short, sometimes only one sentence quotes, but are reminders of possibilities.
Mhm. Yes, thank you, Paul. And I'm so glad you're here this morning with us.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Lynn.
So the other thing that's wonderful about these cards is that they're tangible. We want things, not screens. So, you know, we can find these quotes online, but it's nice to have the cards. So, Rachel, let's hear what Jean says about this.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to read this quote and one that accompanies it, and then give us a little attunement. Does that sound
No,
good?
I'm going to finish speaking and
Oh.
then we'll do the attunement. So we're gonna,
Okay. Okay, perfect. It is of little importance how good, wise, strong, or healthy the therapist is or seems. What matters is that the therapist is another human person who responds, and every therapist can be confident that he can always be that.
Would you read it one more time, Rachel, and let's just take that in and see how we feel about it. Go ahead.
Is it okay to read the second part too that I found
Sure.
after? Okay.
Sure.
It is of little importance how good, wise, strong, or healthy the therapist is or seems. What matters is that the therapist is another human person who responds, and every therapist can be confident that he can always be that. And he says, then I am just here with my eyes, and there is this other being. If they happen to look into my eyes, they will see that I am just a shaky being. I have to tolerate that. They may not look, but if they do, they will see that. They will see the slightly shy, slightly withdrawing, insecure existence that I am. I have learned that that is okay.
Yeah. Wow. It's sort of like a message that's very heartening and comforting. It's okay if I'm not strong, if I'm not wise, if I'm shaky, if I'm insecure, if I'm exhausted. I'm another person. And I think some of you may be thinking, is that really true? You know, that it's okay, however I am, that helping isn't about how good I am. It's about showing up. Is that really true? And some people may be thinking, yeah, that what's really important is to be another human being that responds. Whoa, that's a tall order. That's not nothing. To be another human being that responds. Some of us feel exhausted from responding. And how can we really be a human being here in this? Sometimes we feel like I'm just a mechanism, a production machine, a holder of people's anxieties and feelings, and that I don't have room to be a human being. Anybody thinking that? I think that Jean's message is so important because it's a message that what's most important is that you are here, that you matter, that you count, that you are part of it. A helper is not somebody that's just giving and giving and giving. Because giving and receiving are the same thing. It's not that kind of what really matters that Jean is talking about is never a one-way street. It's never like there's the giver and there's the receiver. I think of this spiritual teacher who said that giving and receiving, true giving and receiving are the same thing. And I always think about that when I pet my cat, like who's receiving and who's giving when I pet my cat. So when we think about that, that we are an interaction, that we're made out of interaction, and this being showing up, being present as a human being is not just something that I do myself. It's an interaction, it's elicited in me. So there's another good news. The first good news is that I can be a shaky human being, and that just being there as a human being is what counts. The second good news is that that the process that Jean calls the big therapy process. Some of you aren't therapists, but are helpers in other ways, like my assistant Christine, who is helping everybody from early morning till after midnight with all their technological problems and all their shopping problems and all their everything problems. I can't even go into it, take the whole time. That feeling of entering this process of helping, the big process, is a dimension. It's not something I do. It's a dimension of interaction. And it's a dimension that I am important in, and that I'm getting and growing and healing from. That when we're just giving and not receiving, that isn't sustainable. But what Jean is talking about with this being a human being that responds is entering an experience where the growing and the healing is a dimension that we are part of. It's for us. So the second good news is this process is for us. We count in it and we benefit from it. A psychoanalyst said that it's one of the most well-kept secrets that therapists enter the field because they want to grow and to heal, but also that they grow and heal as much as the clients do. And I think that isn't such a secret now. I think we all know that, but we need to be reminded of it, that this is a process that is healing and growing for all of us. So the question is, what is this presence? What is this showing up as a human being and responding? And how do we get there? And I think this will be a two-part talk, and I'm going to be more, go into more detail of more thoughts about it next time. But for this time, I want to flag up the experience that we all have at times of entering into that dimension, entering into that mystery, entering into that place where giving and receiving are the same thing, entering into the place where our insecurities and shakiness and things we don't know and inexperience, perhaps, or all of our hang-ups and our triggeredness and all the stuff of human life, that's not the important thing. We all have that experience of entering the dimension of a large meaning. Like, wow, here I am. Here I am. And just when I say that, I could feel it in my body. Let's see if you can. Here I am. I showed up for this meeting with you. And I don't know very much at all about doing this kind of thing. I'm very shaky in it. But look at this. I'm here and you're here. And there's a feeling of what Jean calls a little turn. And I always loved that phrase. I don't even know if he wrote about it. Maybe he did. But that little turn is something clicks in. And it's like, oh, wow. Wow, that woke me up. Or, oh, I get that. Or, oh, here we are. There's a feeling of, what's going to happen? How will this be? It's entering into that mystery of the big connectedness between us, that we don't have to be any particular kind of a person to enter into. It's there for all of us. It's a dimension of life. And we have to recognize it, sort of turn our attention to it. Some people call that that little turn a kind of dropping down into your bodies. See if you could feel that. I'm going to say some phrases and see if some of them will mean something to you and others won't, because everybody thinks of it a different way, and different words will be there for each of you. So some people call it a kind of dropping down. Ah. Some people call it a connecting with the self and with the other, this feeling of connection. Some people call it embodiment, like really remembering that you are a body, not just a skin envelope inside your skin, but a body that goes way out. We'll talk about that another time, the way that Jean uses the word body. Entering into your body, breathing, moving. Some people might call it remembering, like at some moment you remember, oh, wow, look at this, what we're doing. Some people may feel it as a recognition. This matters. This matters. Somehow I almost get tears when I say that. This matters, what we're doing. We matter. And we're all in it together, and that matters. So I'm going to stop there. And next time we'll talk more about presence and how we get there and some of the elements of it. But Rachel will do a little attunement for us, and we can go try bringing ourselves home to ourselves as she does that. And then we'll have some comments.
Thank you. So welcoming all of you, all of us here. And inviting you to arrive freshly in this moment with yourself in this very particular kind of way of being together, and also the challenge of bringing all of you, all of yourself here. So just taking a moment and saying hello inside now to how you are and who you are this morning. Coming into your body. Maybe noticing that the breath is both inside of you. You can feel it when it goes in, and how it sort of touches all of the inside when the lungs expand. And then with each exhale, there's a release that goes into the environment that we share. And there is this actual and implicit, what's in us and what's outside of us. It is always an interaction. Just checking in body, the sits bones, the belly, the thighs. Just noticing your own weight and the relationship you have with gravity, whether or not you are aware of it at each moment. And only if it feels like an invitation that feels like one to accept, seeing if there's something inside, maybe some part, some point of your elbow or back of your eyelids that has a sense of being at ease or supported, connected, dropped in. Just having some space to notice that. And also, if it feels okay, maybe seeing if there's a part that's feels a bit up in the air or ungrounded, maybe yearning for more settling or more connecting. Maybe saying hello to all of that. Neither better or worse, just sort of both guests that have come over for tea. And just checking how all of it is for you right now. The enormity in each of us. And just in your own time, you might bringing yourself with you, come back into this shared space and into the larger whole.
To just have that moment and bringing ourselves with us. So let's see if we have a couple of comments, and then we're going to have some small groups so that there's more room for you to get to know each other and to speak. But we might have a few comments first.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Lynn. Rachel.
Hi.
So great to be with you here this morning and to be with everybody else. And I wanted to just offer a comment for me, and I'm curious if other people felt that. When you describe that quality of the turn, right? You invite us to feel into that place, giving and receiving, kind of become this third thing.
Mm-hmm.
because I've had experience with other practices like this, as I felt into the whole field of our shared presence, I felt, maybe this is just me, that the whole room turned in that moment. In my experience, all.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Tell everybody your first name. And so when,
Yeah, I'm
if they
Stuart.
can't see it, Stuart, right.
Here in Brooklyn at the heart of the lockdown.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Stuart.
My name is Valka, and I
Valka.
am in Washington, D.C., and so grateful to be part of this international gathering. I know that as teachers, healers, I've looked for a place where I can come to and be fed. Many times we are giving so much, and I really connected with what you said about holding the fear and anxiety of others. And how do I exhale that and give it away with honor so that I can have enough space for myself? And I've come to, I feel like this is a fountain of renewal. I'm grateful that you are letting this grow and unfold organically, you know, without so many rules and regulations.
Right.
I am working from home, and so I may have to jump off because I do have to start work at 9 o'clock. But I will stay on as long as I can, and I will continue to return. I just wanted to send honor to everyone and my gratitude for being here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Valka. Thank you. I
love that quote of Jean about, you know, looking into your eyes. And I work in Ireland in the area of child protection in very complex cases. And the children always, the young people always know when I'm off. They tell me. Something about you today is different, Derek. And I've learned that it's really good to say, actually, do you know what? Today is I'm kind of like this. I'm not kind of like myself, or I'm like this or like that, and it makes it so much more real in the human interaction. They sense it in you, and I actually, when it was being read by Rachel, that actual young person's presence came into my awareness of that moment, which always amazes me how the memories of our bodies are evoked at any time. And likewise, it's lovely to be sitting in this well of the tribe, as I would call it, to be there. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek.
So,
yes.
My name is Anna.
Hi, Anna.
I'm in Oregon. So it's really early in the morning for me.
Oh.
And I just wanted to say that when we were breathing together during Rachel's introduction, I had this amazing feeling of the whole world. We're from all over the planet, and just it felt like the whole world was breathing with us. It was, I don't know, it's just, I had this sense of, I've never been on a Zoom thing with so many people. We've got 100 people here, I believe. And just that thing of being present with all of us breathing at the same time and paying attention to our breath felt very intimate on a global scale. I don't know how one can say.
Yes.
But it felt wonderful, and that alone, if nothing else, for me has made getting up this early worth it. So I just wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you for getting up so early. We're going to have this experience of being in rooms of 4 of you, and then if you would just take turns and say just a few sentences about where you are and what's there for you.
Yeah, so I started already sharing in the other, in my previous room. So I just wanted to say, you know, what I'm noticing as a person that was born and raised in the Middle East amidst lots of wars, and, you know, how my tendency is to be very hard about all of this. And what struck me today was the softness and the acceptance of the human condition, which was very touching to me. And not to go into this fight and flight, which is happening to me just like automatic when difficulties of that nature come up. So I'm very thankful for that reminder.
What resonated for me, can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, was the piece that Lynn said about the experience of entering into the mystery of giving and receiving. And for me, that was kind of like, I spend a lot of time in the giving place, and sometimes it's hard for me to receive help from other people. And so opening myself up to that as well, I think it's important. So that's what really resonated for me.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. I'm Xin Yi. My name is Xin Yi. I'm from China, Beijing.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you. My English is very poor. I can't understand a lot of English, but I can see you. I can be a companion. Say hello to you, to everybody. Thank you.
And your English is better than my Chinese, so we're doing just great. Thank you. For me, I think the significance is that this session shows the worldwide nature of what we're all experiencing. I think that this is so unique and a shift in not only interactions, but it's a whole paradigm shift. And in that kind of a situation, when we're working with our clients, everything changes fundamentally. So you're asking, who am I? What is my role? How do I help my client? And I just feel that when we start to come out of this, we are going to be with people who are carrying a lot of loss for what was, loss for what they used to think was normal. And we have to do that for ourselves as well. But that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm feeling.
I'm okay if anybody wants to share something in the original language. I can just hold it. I'm okay with that.
Hi, Isabella. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm sorry, my net connection here today is not so good, so I'm not sure if you can hear me or not, because I cannot see the screen on my computer. So yeah, I just come to share a little bit about the sense that you know, by the lead of the Rachel, which she do the connection for the personal personal feeling. I think I was really touched by that sentence says that maybe we can connect our inner side. And when I feel like that, I just move into my side and to say, who am I and what I have went through, and what happened in last 2 months, and what I have done. And I also found a little bit sympathy on myself to be a helper, because sometimes we feel more feelings of our clients, but ignore ourselves. So now I feel like something, just come to my body. I just feel like that a little bit crying come to my, nose, or tears maybe inside of my eyes. That was my feeling. Okay, just to share that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. The other piece that spoke to me today when Lynn talked about this not being a group, because when there's a group, there's a sort of like, hierarchy of people in charge, but more of it being a collective of everyone contributing. And so that really touched me. And the other piece that spoke to me was the piece about we are interconnected in this together, all of us having this experience together. Speak to the piece of the humanity in all of us, that all of us are the same, even when we think we may be different. And then the piece about the joy that some people, and myself included, have experienced even during this time, and how sometimes for me, there can be a little bit of guilt about feeling joy in relationship to what I'm doing or what I'm engaging in, because I feel like, this is such a painful time, I shouldn't experience joy. And so noticing that both of those things can exist, that there can be joy for me in being with my family and, spending time that way. So holding both of those things.
So I'm very a little nervous because my today my internet is not very good. So I can't. I spent more time to come in this room. So when I come into this there, the Zoom tell me to the part 4 room. So I have a little nervous. Okay, my muscle is very tight. So so I'm very sorry. So my heart is very white. Okay, it's very nothing in my body. Okay, I'm very sorry.
It's okay. I could hear you fine. And can I, it's about 2-3 minutes left. Can I invite, if you guys feel comfortable with it, if you want to say at least one word in Chinese just to presence each other in your own language, if it feels okay for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I think I'm just going to stay with my voice for the moment rather than interrupting, because it's almost time. So let's just have time for a breath together. We don't really have time for the comments, although I would love to hear them. So Isabel, maybe you could just give us a little closing word.
Actually, I want to just read this little poem as a way to go out, and that is from Ton Shan. If you look for the truth outside yourself, it gets further and further away. Today, walking alone, I meet him everywhere I step. He is the same as me, yet I am not him. Only if you understand it in this way will you merge with the way things are.
Wow. Thank you, Isabel. That was beautiful. Have a wonderful week, everybody. And thank you all so much for coming.